Welcome to Amalgam Hour, the movie and comic podcast. I'm Robin.
I'm done.
For no particular reason at all, me and Dan came up with the idea of doing an Avengers pitch. So we're going to be coming up with an entire comic, and when we say an entire comic, maybe a good 20 issues. We don't know how far we can push this. Why don't we do it to 16 volumes? How about that? Let's try that, shall
16 volumes.
we? And what we're simply going to be doing, we've both gone away and come up with 3 superhero names, 2 villain names, and 1 environment, and we're going to merge them together to try and create both an Avengers team, a villain set that works out, and an environment that would be interesting and fun for the story. So, for example, we were discussing this the other day. I came up with the Supreme Intelligence and Super Skrull as a villain. And I was like, oh, maybe the Supreme Intelligence is fed up with the Kree, so he's manipulated a Super Skrull to land on Earth, and they're fighting in a desert. There you go. That's simple.
Yeah.
So here we go. Dan, you can go first. What is our first Avenger?
Our first Avenger. I'll go with the most popular character I have on my list.
Okay.
Because I wanted to take from different settings with my characters.
Okay, that's
So
interesting.
my first one, yeah, by the way, we had characters we can't use.
Yes.
But my first one,
we made
favorite character that I couldn't use was Daredevil.
Daredevil. Ooh, a little street level boy. Ooh,
Yeah.
Now that's interesting. He's probably definitely been on an Avengers team before. Maybe New Avengers. But that's interesting. And we're also going to have to try and figure out how all of these people are brung together. So
Yeah.
we need to figure out that as well. Now, let's say on a similar track, and if anyone's watched any videos of ours before, they know that I, Robin, have a certain fascination. So our next Avenger is Moon Knight. Also a vigilante, but also has been on the West Coast Avengers before, and the Secret Avengers. So, I think it works. Now we got
We
two
just
little...
discovered that our first 2 characters are coming together.
Yeah, we got 2 little vigilante boys. There's a couple else that I feel like could fit in that. But go on. Next one.
And like I said, I wanted to take from different teams and environments, yeah. I figured, let's have an X-Men involved.
Ooh, an X-Man.
Yeah. I thought, I ain't having like a Wolverine, that's just pathetic.
Okay.
So we'll have a smart blue hairy man with Beast.
Ooh, Beast. That's interesting because he was an Avenger for like the longest time. Up until, I believe, like the late 90s, he was still an Avenger. That's interesting because he hasn't been on an Avengers team for a while, but he's good enough with... like, Beast must have spoken to every Marvel character in the universe.
Yeah, probably.
So that works. That's interesting. Okay, my next character. Interesting one again. I was like, I do kind of like... because I do... Now, I love Moon Knight, but I also love a bit of Spider-Man. Mostly because of his powers. Don't really care about the character.
If you say Spider-Man, I'm going to lose it.
Not Spider-Man. A certain female Spider-Man. Not a Spider-Woman. But a little unknown character called Silk. Who I love.
Oh, interesting.
Great design. Origin tied in with Peter Parker Spider-Man, as well as being a fun vigilante. And instead, her webbing comes out of her fingertips. And it's quite gross. But it's a great costume, so I'll go with it. Next character, your last and final character.
My last character, get me out here. We have a little Inhuman involved.
Oh no, not an Inhuman.
Yeah. Karnak.
I was thinking about Karnak as well. Okay, now, I feel like my last character, Karnak is fun, interesting. He can point out the flaw in any plan, any person, any action. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But that's going to be interesting to try and bring them all together.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. My last and final character, Luke Cage. Most people know Luke Cage.
Didn't see that one coming.
Strong skin. New Avenger. I've gone from a West Coast Avenger and a new Avenger and a character who's never been an Avenger. You know? So it's sort of different And then you've got Beast, who an Avenger, also an X-Man, Karnak, Inhuman, and then Daredevil, usually solo. Never seem to see him on a team. Interesting. Now here's where we go down our villains. Now, this is going to break or change it. Change it for the better? Who knows?
Go first.
I'll go first. My first villain, and just so the audience is aware, we're going to have 4 villains' names, but we're only going to choose 1 or 2. We're not going to use them all, but we just want to see what would work best. And that. So, let's go ahead. My first villain, Mole Man.
Who?
Mole Man. You know Mole Man.
Oh, Mole Man. Yeah,
the leader of the Moiloi. I think that's how you say it. I don't know.
Moloid, so sorry.
I don't think my mouth can physically say that word. I'm going to call them little dudes. How about that? He can control the little dudes, and he uses them to fight the Fantastic Four, and they're usually under the ground. But recently, I believe they're in the Savage Land with a bunch of dinosaurs and monsters. Interesting.
We haven't got any Fantastic Four members, but interesting.
That's true.
I wanted my villain to have some sort of connection to one of my characters.
Okay.
So I went with Maximus.
Is that Black Bolt's
guy? Yeah,
evil
it's Black
brother?
Bolt's brother. Yeah.
Okay, evil brother. That's interesting. Mole Man and Maximus, they don't really work well together, but
no, they don't have to.
They don't have to. Well, they do have to for the story. But we have 2 others to choose from.
They don't both have to be there.
Yeah, we've got 2 others to choose from. Mojo. Anyone know who Mojo is? Dan, are you aware
Google
of Mojo?
top 10 unknown
No,
villains.
I know Mojo because of Longshot and the Mojo verse. Pretty much, he's an interdimensional villain who I believe is mostly Avengers based, that's why I chose him, who has a universe that he controls, which is all to do with TV. So he's bringing a lot of characters to be his TV stars and that sort of thing. And he's a huge green fat guy in a robot chair. So now none of these are sort of connected. What's your 4th one?
My 4th one, I wanted someone, it's a powerhouse, like a strong character.
Okay.
But obviously in my list of characters, I couldn't go too strong.
Yes.
So I went with Abomination.
Ooh, Abomination. Okay.
Yeah. Strong, but he's manageable.
Could be defeated. This team seems a little bit.
I was almost Apocalypse. Okay, I had to change things.
Oh no. Maybe a bit of Luke Cage plus. Actually, that's kind of good because what's our Avengers team? It's Karnak, Moon Knight, Silk, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Beast. All of them combined, I feel like could defeat an Abomination. You know? That's not terrible. It's not terrible. Now, what is your setting, Dan?
Setting?
Yeah.
Like I said, I think I went a bit too Inhumans on this.
Oh, no. You don't even like the Inhumans. Okay, Attilan.
However you say it.
Yes.
Figured villain, it quite works.
Moonbase. Okay. Because my setting is an island or at sea. Because I could figure that would come up with some interesting storytelling potential.
Yeah.
Or interesting
Nowhere
visuals.
specific.
Nowhere specific, just the setting of the ocean. Not an environment.
Interesting.
So more of an environment than a setting. But okay.
Interesting.
How's this going to come together then? So we got Mojo, Mole Man, Maximus, Abomination.
Okay. Choose the setting first.
Now, Attilan or... Well, I feel like depending, because if we choose Maximus, it can be Attilan. But if we choose...
setting, but the other one
Okay, so that's what Silk's like fighting. So she's captured the lizard now, and she's gunning it straight for Mole Man. So that's towards the end. Beast is still debating whether to blow up, leave. He's hitting Mole Man. Luke Cage still just tanking Abomination. Okay, who's Moon Knight and Daredevil fighting? Because they can team up as a fun little moment.
They can go on against Sauron.
Ooh,
How you say his name?
The Pterodactyl Man. Ooh,
Yes.
that's interesting. So they maybe, yeah, because I don't know if they'd be able to defeat Stegron together, because he's like a muscly dinosaur Triceratops dude.
Yeah.
But a pterodactyl they could do, and that could be fun because it could be like, the pterodactyl Daredevil goes gun straight for Mole Man, but the pterodactyl lifts him up and flies into the air, but Moon Knight like grabs hold of its leg with its like grapple hook, so they're both now flying in the air. Because that's interesting, because now you got multiple action scenes happening, but they're all very different and unique. You got Luke Cage literally being beaten, then you've got Silk investigating, you got Beast debating, now you've got a scene within the sky, and they've got to work together. So that's fun. But then 100% Moon Knight's just going to kill this pterodactyl dude. 1,000%. So let's just say, yeah, Moon Knight's going to end up, I don't know, like Crescent mooning him in the face. Or, which would be more interesting, maybe due to the pterodactyl flying up, he gets out of the range of the like Mole Man's control,
Yeah.
And as he does,
he's just free.
Yeah, Sauron cuts through the clouds and goes like, Mole Man's controlling me, and then Moon Knight goes, I don't care, and then just like stabs him in the eye with a crescent moon, but that causes him to drop Daredevil,
Yeah.
So now Moon Knight's going to be chasing, like going through the air trying to get to Daredevil, and as soon as he does, Moon Knight obviously pulls it up on his cape, and they start floating down, but they're still going very fast. So that's like a bit of intensity. Now, Karnak is left to deal with Stegron the Dinosaur Man and the dinosaurs.
I would like to see this, yeah. They're just throwing it at it, but Karnak is just dodging everything.
Ooh, that could be really good. Or maybe for the first half,
he tricks him to like fall off the boat or something.
Yeah, for the first half he's on the run. He's on the run and he's like predicting everyone's moves, and he's dodging and he's escaping and he's ducking and weaving under. Maybe he's going throughout the boat, because all of this is mostly, we got one in the sky, we've got a couple on the top of the boat, but he's inside the boat being chased by dinosaurs. So it's like Jurassic Park-esque, Yeah. But he's dodging perfectly, and then Beast goes full savage mode as he realizes that he is tinkering with the ship, and he's like, I don't know whether to blow it up. But as he does that, he hears Silk go, Silk describes to Beast that it's the crystal that's holding everyone's control, And as he looks up, he realizes that Sauron, from very far away, he realizes that Sauron is now flying away instead of things. So he realizes there's a distance to it. Luke Cage is still being battered around, but Beast goes, fuck it. And he goes full Beast mode, and him and Silk team up now to defeat Abomination. And this is, as they do this, Moon Knight and Daredevil land in the ocean. Okay, so because that's just a bit of fun. They just a big sploosh sound effect. Now, Dan described to me how Beast, Silk, and Luke Cage are going to defeat Abomination. Maybe with Karnak's help, if he's able to dodge and weave the dinosaurs for long enough. Yeah.
Me out. They're distracting Abomination.
Mm.
Karnak is being chased by Stegron.
Mm.
And he makes it so he dodges Stegron's hits and then ends up accidentally them two fighting.
Ooh, that's really good. Like Stegron's chasing him.
The powerhouses turned on each other.
That's interesting. Oh, sorry. But that's really interesting where, like, Karnak's chasing round a corner, and because Karnak and Beast are friends, they're speaking in like Bluetooth earpieces or whatever. They're like, I'm on the east side of the boat, we're turning west now. And Beast is leading the team into controlling Abomination into a certain direction. And then as he does, Karnak goes, now! And they both jump into the air. Or Beast, Karnak jumps, Beast leaps up, grabbing Karnak and like jumping onto a higher part of the boat. As Stegron and a bunch of dinosaurs turn, and Stegron's horns dig into Abomination. You know?
Yeah.
And a bunch of the dinosaurs jump onto Abomination because they're now confused. But Mole Man's unable to see it, so we can't control them fully, not to fight each other. And that was like Beast's hypothesis or whatever. And they're fighting, so you got Abomination and Stegron fighting, and they're starting to like actually damage the boat now. They're like destroying it. Maybe there's a hole or whatever in the boat. Who knows?
The boat's going down, basically.
Yeah, because that can add interest. But now it's Mole Man. So who's left? Mole Man is left with a bunch of moloids, maybe a couple of dinosaurs, and maybe a monster or two, you know? And he's on top, and he's walking towards the boat, and this is where he's monologuing about how he wants to destroy America for what they've done, and that they brung an entire army to him, and how that was such a stupid idea. So Beast goes, I agree. Now let's stop him, you know? And they all charge. And now you can get your thing of, ooh, that could be really good, where it's Beast, Luke Cage, and Silk. They're fighting, but all while Karnak is dodging and weaving and going straight towards Mole Man.
Yeah.
You know? He's dodging and weaving and weaving and dodging until he's about to get a good hit on Mole Man when a big monster comes in front of him. And then all of a sudden... No, and then it cuts to Luke Cage fighting a dinosaur, punches him off the boat. Silk, like, drop kicks a monster off of the boat as well. Or, like, webs it and swings it away. And then Luke Cage realizes Karnak's about to be hit because he's dodging. There's too much going on for him to, like, not, you know?
Yeah.
And as he does that, Luke Cage fastball special Silk right into the monster. Because that's what you want a comic fight to be, don't you? You want cool moments that hit. And I feel like we're actually doing sick of that right now. So fires... Silk like punches him aside, starts taking on that monster, and then Karnak's now. Let's say this Mole Man is scuffling with Karnak now, as Karnak's being like overrun by moloids. Who's going to come into? Because the whole thing is to get rid of. I know. Beast starts tinkering with the ship again. Yeah. Luke Cage is still struggling with some of the dinosaurs. He's like holding onto a raptor's tail as it's running towards Karnak, you know?
Yeah.
And then and I want this now. It cuts to Moon Knight and Daredevil in the ocean slowly swimming. And Daredevil describes how it was really fun to be underwater using his powers. Because he got an entire sense of the ocean. And this is where Moon Knight goes, you didn't happen to see a crescent in there, did you? And then it cuts to another scene. Setting up something earlier. Shh. Shh. And then, so Karnak is struggling with the moloids. Luke Cage is stopping a dinosaur. Beast is tinkering with the thing. Silk is dealing with the monster. And then, describe to me, Dan, how Daredevil and Moon Knight defeat Mole Man and get his staff away from him.
I'll say sneaky.
They sneak?
They sneak onto the boat.
Ooh, that could be
without
fun.
Being spotted.
Daredevil's using his like
in the chaos.
Daredevil's like using his billy clubs, or Moon Knight's not being sneaky, but Daredevil is.
Yeah.
That's really fun. Moon Knight like jumps over the edge, starts trying to crescent moon Mole Man. And then Mole Man's like, do you think simple what you call it? Simple weapons will defeat me and my monsters. And then
He gets smacked in the head.
yeah, and then Daredevil goes from behind him. No, but this can, and then he kicks the staff out of his hand, or the crystal, or whatever, you know. And then that goes to Moon Knight, and he catches it, and then he immediately turns like the dinosaurs and everyone off, and then the monsters start fighting each other, and Moon Knight's like having fun with it. But the only ones who aren't listening to the crystal are the Moloids, because they still listen to Mole Man. So Daredevil gets overrun by them, you know? That sort of thing happens. It's fun. And then... yeah. And that happens. Beast is still doing the machine, and he leads Moon Knight towards him with the staff, as... and then Karnak's realizing that Beast is filming a plan, goes to help. So what then happens is, so Mole Man's like, no, mere creatures, and then it just turns into the Avengers versus the Moloids. And Moon Knight's trying to get to the jet before the boat fully sinks, and Moloids attack him. So he's like doing acrobatics up this boat, which is going like, it's tipping now. And he finally gets to Beast, and as the Moloids are dragging him under the ocean, Moon Knight throws the staff to Beast. He catches it. He whispers into the crystal, "Follow me." Yeah. He then puts the crystal inside the jet, and he sets it to fly, and it flies back into the island. So all the beasts, except the Moloids, now just follow the jet, which then crashes in the heart of the
in the center.
The island. Yeah. And they all jump off, and all the Avengers jump off. Bunch of the Moloids are defeated. Mole Man's on the edge of this boat, and he goes to get off, but as he does, there's like an injured Moloid grabbing his ankle, asking for help or whatever. I know they don't speak, but sure, they're asking for help. He tries to get off, but he doesn't do it last second, and because of the Moloid grabbing him, he doesn't do it. He turns, and as he does, like a girder hits him, and the boat sinks, taking Mole Man with him. So you don't have the problem of, well, he can just go and get the crystal again. No, he can't, because maybe he's dead, or maybe he'll come back later as like an underwater sea-controlling lich, zombie. Who knows? Could mean anything. And I love the idea of, so they've defeated all of these creatures and everything, and maybe they take back the creatures to put into a normal prison one of the last sentences is Karnak going, you're imprison people on a savage land plan. It never would have worked, and Beast agreeing. And then they take all of them back, and maybe Beast uses the crystal. But I really want an image of all this Avengers team sat on the beach with their face in their hands as their only boat is sinking. And they're just like... they're just like, well, this sucks. And Moon Knight's talking to Daredevil, being like, hey, can we go and do something for a sec? And he's like, what? And then they disappear. Interesting. And then it cuts back to America, where S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters the window gets smashed into it as Beast and Karnak is flying on the back of Sauron.
Yeah.
They went from the island, and they're now back and they're like, hey, we kind of left a couple people behind, and it cuts to them, and Luke Cage, Silk, and Daredevil are all fighting for food, and they're all dehydrated. But in the background, you see Moon Knight holding a huge crescent moon, which you then learn he followed all the way from America, because this is actually a sequel to Moon Knight Shadowland, where his brother had a crescent moon that was a secret moon artifact that had a lot of magical power, it's just setting up a Moon Knight thing. That was his motivation for being on this Savage Land team. He did like a lunar lunar ceremony to hunt down this thing, and he realized it had drifted from America to the Savage Land. And when Daredevil was in the ocean, he was able to use the sonar to find it. So that was why Moon Knight went there. And there you go. And that leaves Secret Avengers able to go anywhere, because they now
Yeah.
have to undo the Savage Land plot. Sauron is apparently now a friend of Beast. I don't know. Moon Knight has this crescent moon now. You could bring in Maximus later. Maybe Karnak decides to stay with Beast as they grow a bond. Maybe Silk realizes that she has to be smarter with her fighting because she didn't know Lizard was Kurt Connors until the very end.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Daredevil tries to work more within the team. I think that works. We have to come up with a name for it, though. What's the name?
Secret Avengers, Savage Lands.
Could be Savage Lands, Savage Control, Savage Mole Man, and the first cover is the Avengers, and then a huge beastly, angry mole man behind them holding a crystal. That could work. Why don't we wrap this up and we give it to the audience? Let's have some names. What is this story going to be called? I like Savage Mole Man, or just Secret Avengers Savage Land. Or you call it, what did I call it earlier? Operation Savage? You just call it that. And then every volume is Operation something with whatever secret they're doing at the time.
Yeah.
That could work. I really like this story. We went from having literally nothing to an entire story. So I think it works. And there was actual cool moments. Like Daredevil and Moon Knight fighting on a pterodactyl in the sky above Savage Land. I don't think you see that so often. And I love how this entire time, and the story has to end with Luke Cage being beaten and broken, and him returning to Jessica Jones and his kid, and Jessica being like, "Who did this to you?" And then it ends as maybe she's going to learn about the Secret Avengers and join later, or have a real problem with it and expose the Secret Avengers for what they are, just so Luke Cage doesn't have to be the fucking punching bag for the team. But there you go. Secret Avengers Operation Savage, written by, let's say, Infernum Comics, because that's the team. And I really enjoy these pitch sessions that we have. They're only ever few and far between, but I think they work really well. And I'd love to hear other people's ideas about where this team could go, or just critique this story, because I'm sure there's problems with it. I'm sure. 100%. But that was Infernum Comics pitching. It turned into a Secret Avengers pitch, but let's keep Avengers in the title, shall we? Make life easier. Let's have Moon Knight on the thumbnail, though, because I need that, otherwise I go through withdrawals. But there you go. It was Infernum Comics. If you want to know more about Infernum Comics, you go to infernumcomics.com, either read our webcomic, see some of our gallery page, or maybe go there and find some of our other social medias. And what other social medias do we have, Dan?
Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, the usual. Go there.
Go there. Well done. It's all in the description, so just go down below, infernumcomics.com, and I maybe even put the link to our webcomic, as it has updates every 2 weeks, I believe. And there you go. That was our Avengers pitch. Thank you for listening.